Welcome to CyberDon. I am a certified cyber nerd. I focus on training and mentoring both new and seasoned cybersecurity professionals. In this video, I'm going to discuss 3 keys that you need to be successful in your cybersecurity career. Hands-on training. First off, cybersecurity is not a movie.
We're talking about practice. We ain't talking about the game. We're talking about practice, man.
And yes, we are talking about practice. You need to understand what you're doing with cybersecurity, both in your mind, but then you need to be able to do. You need to be able to be a cybersecurity response individual. You need to be able to respond to blue team or red team events. And you can only gain that knowledge by actually doing. That means hands on keyboard. Now, you can learn a lot from watching somebody else, but at some point you have to put hands on keyboard. Now, what I recommend doing is you build up a security lab. So if you do Active Directory work, you should have an Active Directory security lab. If you do red teaming work, you should have a red teaming practice lab. If you do blue teaming work, you should have your blue team tools, or at least any ones that you can afford. And there are many free ones, but you should have all of these spun up in a lab so you can do hands-on practice. Now, labs are time consuming and sometimes require a lot more technical knowledge than you may have in the beginning. But nevertheless, there are some tools that I recommend that you can try. The first one here is TryHackMe. This is my absolute favorite. This is what I do all the time. I think I'm in the top 2 or 4% in TryHackMe. I've done the majority of their labs. I absolutely love their training environment. They start out on a free tier. However, the tier I have, I do pay for. But nevertheless, you can get some great hands-on training, whether it be red team, blue team, purple team, even doing digital forensics and things of that nature. You must have hands-on keyboard, and TryHackMe is a great place to start. Now, but nevertheless, I highly recommend TryHackMe. And even if you know what you're doing in cybersecurity, you can use TryHackMe to fill in the gaps. Cyber mindset. Now, first off, you need to be able to think. You need to be able to speak. You need to be able to understand cybersecurity. Not only the principles, but the terms that we use quite frequently. You need to understand the CIA triad. What is AAA? What is least privilege access? Why are we so concerned about privilege security and password security? All of these things are super important. Now, for this one, I have one suggestion for everybody, and there's a podcast called Darknet Diaries. Now, I absolutely love this podcast. I listened to every episode from like episode 1 all the way up till about episode 100. And what it was able to do is it allowed me to not only speak and think in the cybersecurity terms, but I was able to understand some of the implications of why cybersecurity is important and why we must all follow those types of principles. He lays it out in a simple format where you can start from episode 1. And I'd say by episode 25 to 50, you're already beyond what most people understand about cybersecurity. It is an absolute must, and it's definitely going to help you level up super quickly. A second brain. And all I can say is notes, notes, notes. Now, in this industry, you're going to have a ton of notes. You're going to have daily alerts, emails, threat information. You're going to have processes, procedures that you need to follow. You're going to have documentation templates, and who knows whatever else you'll need. You'll have scripts. You'll have all kinds of information that you need to be able to store and retrieve quickly. Because what you don't want to do is do research on a process and then have to go do that research again. Now you're wasting time. Now you're not being as effective as you can be in your job. So what I recommend is you store all this information in a place where I would call your second brain. And all it really is a note-taking application. Now, for me, I use Obsidian Notes. It does everything I needed to do. And it has so much depth to it that I'm still learning how to do some of the more technical things with it. But nevertheless, it fulfills every need I have with my notes. I can put in a note. I can understand my reasoning. I can even link it to other notes so that I can be able to later recall my entire thought process when I put this note in. Now, for those who may be on Mac, they also have something called Bear Notes. It is very powerful as well and allows you to do a lot of the same things. However, Obsidian is on every platform. So if you can use Obsidian, I'm going to say that's probably your best option. Now, if you can't use Obsidian for some reason, or you can't use Bare Notes, you do have OneNote. Now, OneNote, in my opinion, is not the most powerful note-taking app ever, but nevertheless, it is available in a lot of Microsoft type environments, and it may be something that your job allows you to use. But either way, you need to have a second brain. You have to be able to capture all this information so it doesn't get lost and you don't waste time trying to retrieve it later on. Now, if the information in this video was helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you want a deeper dive into any of the tools that I mentioned, just let me know, comment below, and I'll go ahead and get those up for you.